Well, g'day everybody, Steve from Mud Ducks 4 Drive Touring. Just a quick one to give you a look at Devil Ark, a conservation project in the Upper Hunter. Hope you enjoy it.
Well, good morning, Steve and Kaz from Mud Ducks 4 Drive Touring. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We're on our way up to the Upper Hunter, and we're going to go and have a look at Devil Ark, which is a conservation park set in the Barrington Tops to basically preserve Tasmanian devils, which are an endangered species. And for the month of January they're doing tours of the facility, so we're going up there for a look on one of our last couple of days of holidays. So not really touring as such, other than the couple of hour drive to get there. So we'll shoot what we can and bring this to you as a bit of a look at the Tassie Devils and what they're doing with them. So I'll catch up with you when we get a lot closer to where we're going. We're still probably 2.5 hours away yet, so see you in a while. Road called Tamala Road, which you come to from Hunter Road. Don't get your GPS to guide you there, because it won't take you to that intersection. Silly thing. But anyway, we used maps. Maps are good, GPS's not so good. So we got no idea how far we got to go along here. I think it said 20 odd k's from the gate or something, so it's probably 15 or 16 k's from here, maybe further. We're on the dirt. Woohoo! On the dirt.
Oh, check out the view. That's just brilliant.
Not bad, is it? It's not Burgundy Rodeo country, this. No, no, no. Arrived at Devil Ark. So we're a bit late for the first tour. But anyway, that's okay. So we'll go in, see what we have to see and pay the money, and probably go for the second tour. That's the entry. So in we go. And we'll see what we have to see when we get in here a bit further. Looking around inside the Devil Ark Centre, information boards. This is pretty sad. The disease takes up 90% of Tasmania. This presentation as to how it all started. First tour group out there. That's the previous tour. We'll be going on the next one. Just a look at the outside of the facility for no other reason than I can. Down there is a Tassie Devil. We'll be checking out the tour in a while, but the first tour just walked away, so that's one there. We'll see what else we can see when our tour starts, I think.
I want to say a massive thank you to you guys for coming out here. Obviously still pretty new for us to be open to the public like this. So we really appreciate all the support that you guys are giving us by coming along. Basically where you are right now is the largest breeding facility of Tasmanian devils on mainland Australia. It's actually the tumour cells themselves that are passed from individual to individual. Now, when this was first documented back in 1996, it was estimated there were 250,000 devils in the wild. We're 23 years on, the number could be as little as less than 15,000. Those signs aside are a little bit outdated. The picture is actually worse now than it was when they were made. Now, for some people that's still big numbers to wrap your head around. Another way to think of it, that's more than 30 devils dying every single day at the hands of this disease for the past 23 years. And when you put it like that, there's no two ways about it. The devils are in a lot of trouble. Now, they found quite quickly that the disease is spread through contact. So they worked out that if they got as many healthy devils as they could into captivity, prevented that contact with the diseased ones, they'd be safe and we could start an insurance population. And that's what Devil Ark is a part of. Now, the land that we're on here, we're basically looking for an environment that had a climate and vegetation as close to Tasmania as you could find in New South Wales. We want the devils to feel nice and at home, and all this land here is part of Elliston Station, all around. It's owned by the Packers, the Packers. Yeah. Basically, the owner of the Australian Reptile Park, John Weigel, and the general manager, Tim Faulkner, they set up their proposal. They went to the Packers down on both knees begging for a scrap of the land to make this program a reality. And incredibly generously, the Packers actually donated 500 hectares to us. To that we'll be forever grateful. So construction began in 2009 and we officially opened in 2011 with 44 founding individuals. Since that time, the biggest number of adults we've had at any one time has been 170, and we've produced, from last year just gone, over 300 Tasmanian devil joeys. So the program really is going from strength to strength. Now, one of the things that make us so successful with our breeding is the scale in which we operate. Just from a time, a financial, sort of every platform, the efficiency in which we operate, and also what sort of works really well for the Tasmanian devils themselves. First off, you see the size of our enclosures. This is our smallest one, except for those little tiny ones down there, which I'll get to in a little while, but this is about half a hectare. The rest of them range from 1.5 to 5 hectares. So it's not like your typical zoo where you've got one devil in one little pen and another devil in another one. We can operate with a lot greater capacity of our number of devils on the same space, just by sort of housing them all together. It also saves on fencing costs, obviously, to do 5 hectares rather than lots and lots of 100 square metre little pens. But it's also really good for the devils themselves. So we've got 13 of these big enclosures. We will wander through a couple of them on the tour today, but basically we've got 8 to 10 devils in each one. The breakdown we have, this is an all-male enclosure here with 5 individuals. They weren't given breeding recommendations for this year. What I mean by that is Tasmanian devils have a very low genetic diversity. In the captive insurance population, it's really important we maximise that with our breeding as much as possible. We don't want to lose any of that genetic information, so we're really careful about who breeds with who. Obviously we don't want brothers and sisters breeding with each other, but it goes far beyond that. It's a managed species. There's a person whose job it is to work out who should breed with who to across the whole country with Tasmanian devils. A job I don't envy. But we also have another all-male enclosure. A few young boys, or 9 young boys, will go and we will feed them. Hopefully they come out and say hi for you guys today. And an all-female enclosure as well. Same story, no breeding recommendations. Then we've got 6 breeding enclosures, anywhere up to 8 individuals. And this is sort of a big sort of key to our success. We'll have 4 males, 4 females in there as a maximum. And what it means is the males, they fight over access to those females, just like they would in the wild. The females, they have a choice. You know, they don't just lay back and say whoever wins. They choose which male they think is suitable to breed with. So they're given that choice. So the range of males, 1 female, genetically could breed with any of the males in that enclosure. They've got lots of space to move around. They find natural dens. The way you'll see us feeding today, we put 1 piece of food in for everyone to come into I'll talk a bit more about that as we do it, but it does mimic their natural behaviours. That's what we're all about. They need to have those natural behaviours, so in the future when we put them out into the wild, they know what they're doing and they're going to survive, they're going to breed, they're going to find food. We want them to succeed with those releases, and that's what we're all about on a really big scale. We also, our last few enclosures are reserved for the joeys from last year. So they're now all independent from mum. We caught them all up in November and December, and we put them into little creche yards so they can get used to coming in and feeding. They're not sort of interrupting any of the breeding or getting bothered by some of the older devils. They can just sort of hang out with kids their own age. So that's how they're sort of set up as well. I'll talk a bit more about our expansions, but we also have recently put all of our post-reproductive devils. So devils can breed until about 5 years old, and then we call them post-reproductive. So we've put them all out. We've actually got a 64-hectare enclosure to my left there. So they're all in there, basically as wild as they're going to get. Huge space for them to run around. We've got about 25 devils in there. So there's about 150 devils on site at the moment. So a nice
awesome.
little bit of work for us. So we can wander down, guys.
Have any been released back yet?
Oh yeah, actually, sorry. We 2015 we did send some devils, about 20 odd devils, down to a release on to a peninsula in Tasmania that had been monitored to ensure it was devil free. It had experienced a localised extinction. Very, very difficult. There's only key spots you can release healthy devils. Otherwise, I mean, essentially you're sending them out to get the disease if you're not careful how you do it. So we were part of a release there, and just December we sent a couple more down that have made their voyages back to their homeland for release as well. So again, in one of those locations that has experienced a localised extinction, so there's no sort of threat that the disease is going to come and get them. But it is really, really difficult. Devils are persisting in most of Tasmania, just in very low numbers with that disease, and the last thing we want is to just send them out for a death sentence. So we do have to be very careful about how we do it. But we also would like to see them released onto the mainland. They used to be here, devils used to be here. Debates range from 400 to 4,000 years ago, but evolutionarily that's still a very small amount of time. They fit the ecology, they do wonders in terms of helping with feral pests. So we would also like to see them released back out into the mainland as well.
The ones you let go in Tasmania, are they okay?
We did get, they do monitor them. I think they had collars on them. There was other programs involved, so I think there was about 50 total that got released. Roadkill was a big issue, unfortunately. We're talking about a black and white animal that goes out at night and likes to eat other dead things. So they're drawn to roadkill themselves, and then often are tragically hit in that process. So I think half of the devils from that release were hit. Massive blow to the program, but the silver lining is education. So now we know removing more roadkill in the areas prior to release to stop the devils being drawn there, more supplementary feeding in the areas of release away from the roads, education of motorists to slow down between dawn and dusk, but probably the biggest one, development of what we call artificial fences. Little devices on star pickets lining the road. They detect the headlights of cars, make flashing lights, lots of noise, and scare the animals away from the road before the car makes it. Not only in the trials did that reduce the number of devils being hit, it reduced the number of other animals being hit as well. So a byproduct, we're saving other species too. I think they reduced the roadkill totals by about 70% in those trials. So obviously they're now being implemented for every release of Tasmanian devils in all areas. So, you've got, I guess, the devastating aspect of it that they did. A lot of them get hit, but there's a silver lining to it that learn from your mistakes and do better next time, which is good. So I talked about how big our enclosures are and how amazing they are, and then come here. These are what we call our intensive enclosures, and they're just for more intensive management of some of our animals. Yeah. That's Tora. I hand raised her 2 years ago now. She's about 2 years old, so she's pretty good. She still comes out. She still knows who I am. But as I was saying, we use these enclosures. If we have an injured devil that needs regular treatment or medication, rather than trying to find them in 5 hectares, we'll pop them in here for a little bit while they recover. If we've got animals being transferred to other facilities, which we do on a regular basis, the whole population of Australia is considered as a whole. We don't work in independence. We're sending devils to other facilities for breeding, and we get them in just the same. There's actually a devil on its way here from the Australian Reptile Park today. So she'll be coming into one of these yards until we place her in a big pen. But also if we've got hand-raised animals, as Tora was, once they finish destroying the house, then they finish destroying our vet block, and then they come in here and we teach them that they belong outside and it's a lot harder to destroy the environment in here. They hang out here to greet people for a little while, and then they go into a big pen. Except for young Tora here. Her brother Tyke is already in that big yard you were first out there, but she actually is going to be a breeding female this year. Now, there's only a couple of devils that she can genetically be paired with. She's a bit of a special case. So we can't really afford to put her into one of our big enclosures, you know, sort of 2-3 animals. We'd sort of struggle to house all the rest really. And so it's a lot better and easier for us to keep her in here. It's also really good for our development, just monitoring her signs of going into that breeding condition. So it's really exciting for us. What we'll be looking for is her going off her food. She'll become quite reclusive. She probably won't come out like this anymore. She'll get a layer of fat on the back of her neck. And when we see those signs, we'll grab one of the males who's also hanging out in here and we'll pop him in. He'll chase her around over and over and over until he finally catches her, grabs the back of the neck and drags her into the nest box. He'll then mate with her, but kind of interestingly with the devil is he won't then, you know, be like, oh, okay, job done, see ya. He hangs around for 2 to 10 days. A behaviour known as den guarding. And then devils are only pregnant for about 3 weeks. Not very long at all. Sounds good, ladies, right? And the joeys are the sign of a grain of rice, which also sounds awesome. But we'll have a look then in her pouch after about a month or two, and hopefully we see 4 little joeys in there. What I might do, so you guys can all have a look, I'll jump in. She's a bit special, this lovely girl. She knows me as mum still. She's very sweet. So she's nearly 2 years old. So devils breed at 2, 3 and 4 years old. Hi babies!
Oh, she picks her up.
So this is Tora here. You're a good girl. You've been in the water today. You have. You're going to make my shirt all dirty though.
So they don't try and bite you?
She knows her mum. She does play bites. They hurt, but they're play bites. The best way to describe raising a Tasmanian devil is puppies on steroids. They really are. They tear around the house. They'll grab onto everything, chew everything. They're also puppies that climb. But all of the biting is just play biting, but they're with a much stronger jaw pressure, really. All right, okay. All right, good girl. Now that's enough.
Oh,
That's enough. What's the...
that's a nice window.
The devils love it. Yeah.
Do you use roadkill?
No, it's just saying, it's actually considered interference with wildlife to sample with roadkill.
Because that is somebody who feed it.
But we have land management companies that do culls and cut them, pick them up, anything. Watch the little ones and do be mindful of anyone walking around you as well.
Right into it.
Way or not, so they're not targeting you, they're just trying to get away from the other one. Did terrify a small child on our first day.
So how old are these?
They're all about 2 or 3 years old.
Do they get much bigger?
Not too much bigger, no. Got another one coming down the fence line. Happy to see outside with each other and people speak. As well, if you're spending too much time fighting, not only do you run the risk of becoming injured, but you're wasting time while everyone else is feeding.
I think I'll just leave them guys to feed. I won't film any further.
Let's edit that now a little bit. But this is Riley. He's a little eastern quoll. Hand raised him from about 100 grams. He's now about 6 months of age, nearly fully grown. Like I said, he'll max it at not even 2 kilos. So good little boy. So if anyone does want to hold, you're more than welcome to. Obviously just keep him nice and secure. Pats on the back. He gets a little bit funny about his head and his ears. You'll probably catch a bit of a nip. And if you have had a cuddle, just because it is so hot, we'll just try and just make it one per person. And then I'll bring the devil out just to try and make things a little bit easier for him. Yeah, just wait your turn.
Okay, he's having a hug.
As a baby, he's got a really long nose. And then
It's really pretty.
He'll sort of keep that shape. He's basically fully grown now.
Okay.
This is a little baby quoll.
About 8-9 months now.
Okay, well, we're on the way home from Devil Ark, which apparently has changed its name to Aussie Ark. That's where the Tassie Devils are being bred in captivity to release back to the wild, because now they're doing some other endangered species as well. They're coming home through Gloucester rather than the way we went up, which was on the New England Highway through Musselbrook. So just driving along a nice twisty tarred road. It's not too bad this part. We've been up in the bush of course on the dirt, but now we're down on the tar heading into Gloucester, where we probably stop and get something to eat. We may or may not ever call into a drifter factory. Who knows? It either can happen, and usually does. So hopefully there's enough footage on this video to prove worthwhile. Just a normal day out, not what you'd actually call four-wheel drive touring as such, because it's just a day trip from home. But well, probably better in a four-wheel drive to get there, because it is in the edge of the Barrington Tops and the National Park and the forest and dirt roads and stuff. So it was probably better to be in a 4-wheel than in a road car. But with that said, you could get there in a road car, but I wouldn't want to. There again, I wouldn't want to drive a road car. So anyway, there you go. Alright, not much more to add. Just keep on our way in and get to Gloucester, I don't know, fairly soon I'd imagine. So we will catch up with you guys just a little bit later on.